Well, welcome back. Since we've been off the air in the last hour or so, we've been pretty busy here. We covered 3 major reconstructions of major serious crimes and covered others on incident desk and photocall. Incidentally, as well as the people you see here answering calls, there's another room here at Television Centre where we have another bank of phones staffed by more detectives and researchers.
John Childerley and his team here in the main Crimewatch studio have been taking calls on the Shaney Warren case. Shaney, you may remember, was a 26-year-old who lived in Buckinghamshire. On Good Friday, her car broke down just outside Maidenhead. The next day, her body was found not far away in a lake just beside the A4. John Childerley, you've got a lot of calls, I know that.
Yes, we've had a good response, both here and back at Maidenhead.
Now, it's an inquiry, frankly, about which you've had a lot of publicity in the past. Has anything new emerged?
Well, the most exciting that's emerged is we've had a call from a person who says that they were in the lay-by on Good Friday when they saw a girl very similar to Shaney emptying her bags of grass cuttings.
This is a lay-by off the A4, just the London side of Maidenhead. We're talking about Good Friday.
We're talking about the same lay-by, the same date as the one that is involved in Shaney's case.
She's sure it was Shaney she saw her emptying the grass sack?
She says that it's identical to the picture we've shown. What is more important, in fact, is that she states that she saw a green Mercedes, a bottled green Mercedes, parked near Shaney's car, and there were 2 men some distance away from the vehicle. Obviously, we would be very interested in tracing those 2 men and the driver of the Mercedes if it's not involved with the 2 men.
Indeed you would, and I gather you've had several calls from people who've been quite courageous. In other words, they were out that night with people they shouldn't have been out with.
Yes, that part of the area is a courting area, and we've had a couple of calls, and I'd like to emphasise that we would treat in confidence any calls we have in respect of people in
I
that
saw that
area.
one of them actually had some quite interesting information. That looks quite exciting.
Yes,
John Childerley, thank you very much indeed. Sue?
Well, in our next case, we were hoping to get information on a man who has raped 2 women in Stockport, near Manchester. He has a particular way of gaining the confidence of the women he intends to attack.
Excuse me, love. You don't know where the nearest garage is, do you?
Oh, it's a bit further down on Edgeley Road.
Oh, is it? It's just that I can fix it myself, you know. I just need someone to sit in the car and help me that way. You wouldn't mind, would you, love?
Well, my bus will be here in a minute.
And that attack on the 9th of April in Poynton in Cheshire ended in a rape. Now, to correct an impression I may have given earlier on, there was another rape which happened in the Stockport area, and that report was tonight. In fact, it was a woman who rang tonight to say she was raped in the same area sometime in the last few weeks. We'd like that woman to ring us again, please, in absolute confidence. You might have vital information. But in fact, tonight's case this has been the best response of all tonight's cases, hasn't it, Mr. Waring?
Yes, the response has been most encouraging. Something in the region of 80+ calls so far.
And one woman who rang actually saying she knew who he was in a very upset state.
She's been on to us twice, in fact. She's distressed and she's crying. She says she knows who the man is, and we'd like her to get back in touch with us. Her call will be treated with tact and diplomacy, and she will be treated in confidence.
In fact, a lot of people think they recognise who that video fit is that we showed you. You're hoping they might call us back?
Yes, many people have refused to give us the names at this stage, but every call will be treated with the greatest confidence, and we would urge anybody who thinks they know who this man is, and we'd like to display him again so that nobody's in any doubt as to who we're looking for, and get back in touch with us.
Right, there's a very nice WPC, I can tell you, in the Manchester incident room waiting to hear from you now in absolute confidence. Please do ring. Nick?
We're still getting calls actually right now on that case. But let's move on to the attack on a 66-year-old woman in Weston-super-Mare. We have a picture of the victim, Helen Fleet, walking her dogs near Walbury Wood, just above the town. Earlier tonight, we reconstructed her morning walk on Saturday, the 28th of March. 2 hours after Helen set out, a friend came across her 2 dogs, which were running free.
Where's Helen, then? Where's Helen?
Ray Sargent, what sort of response have you had?
Well, we've had quite a good response, and there's just some distinct lines of inquiry to follow. In particular, we've got 3 persons who rang in and rang off without giving full particulars, and we're very anxious to trace them. And we do stress that their information will be treated in strict confidence.
Give me details.
Yeah, the first one's a young man who believes that he is the boy, the youth that Mrs. Fleet was speaking to on the Thursday afternoon. We are very anxious for him to come forward simply to be eliminated from the inquiry.
He's had the courage to ring but not to give his name and address?
Yes, he sounded very nervous, and undoubtedly he is, but he can be assured that he would be treated in the strictest confidence, and if he had nothing to do with the murder, he has nothing to fear whatsoever.
Right.
Okay, we had 2 other calls. One was from a man who was in the woods on the Saturday morning, and he describes a man answering the photo fit's description running away from the general area of where the deceased body was found. And obviously we're very anxious for him to contact us
Again, you need an address or phone number for him.
That's right. It'll be treated again in the strictest confidence, but his information is quite essential, and really we do plead with him to come forward.
Okay.
And the last one, a very brief one, he simply says, "I think I have the name of the killer," and then he rang off. Again, we appeal to him to come forward.
Do you believe him?
Well, we've got no reason to disbelieve him. He's taken the trouble and time and expense to ring us. We do ask him to ring us back and give us further
OK, the
particulars.
number at the studio is about to close. We'll give local numbers in just a moment. People can call. Thank you very much indeed. Sue.
And incident desk and photo call between them prompted a lot of calls, and still more are coming in now. The lines will be closing in just a few minutes, but as Nick said, the information will be on your screens at the end of this programme. But David Hatcher, on incident desk, there's not much on Alicia Lamotte, the girl who was killed at the factory where she worked in London.
No, sir, an absolutely tragic killing. We've had one call with a possible location of the 2 tape recorders that we mentioned. Handbag and the shoes are still outstanding, and we still want sightings of anyone who saw her arrive or anyone leave 33 Cork Street, Mayfair, between 8:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. on the 8th of May. Please call us. That's a very tragic killing, and we must get to the bottom of it.
Right. Any news on John Robinson, who was attacked at his home in Lancaster with a hammer and a knife?
Well, we showed you the hammer and we showed you the knife. What we really want to know is anybody who's owned tools like this. There have been lots of suggestions that taping hammers is an electrician's trademark, if you like. We think the attacker possibly cut himself on the 9th, 10th of April when he committed the attack. Please, if you can identify anyone who owns this kind of tools or who was cut about that time in the Lancaster area, call us. Another tragic attack.
Briefly, a lot of calls on photo call.
Yes, there were. We've had possible sightings of Johan van der Velde, who we showed. One promising one is being followed up now. In fact, in the picture we showed you, other actors have been identified, including a magician. We'd like the magician to make Mr. van der Velde appear, but I think that's probably a bit optimistic. And also we showed you the false-nose gunman. Well, we've had possible names about him, and we'd like someone who thinks they may be a close relative of that gentleman to call again. And if you'll allow me to coin another phrase, anyone who knows who he may be, please call us.
Thank you.
Helen, the theft, the break-in at the Anne of Cleves house, the museum, a lot of little models, all sorts of things were stolen. What have you got on that?
3 seemingly reliable sightings of the galleon. It's been offered for sale in antique shops, so that'll be definitely followed up tomorrow morning.
Made by Napoleonic prisoners, worth a lot of money, that thing. Photo call, Mr. Burge, what's happened about him?
Mr. Burge was in Leeds at 4:30 this afternoon.
Really?
Now, we believe he is still in the area. He's known to stay at guest houses. If he's seen coming into one, please call us now.
He's wanted for a couple of hundred, or at least for questioning about a couple of hundred offences of deception, isn't he? There was a lot of silver, which we showed, and jewellery which had inscriptions on it. Any news of that?
Number have been claimed. One of them was an identity bracelet. It was entitled Dave, Love Mum and Dad, July 1972. Seems that was lost in Canterbury in Kent in 1972. Perhaps we can restore it to the rightful owner.
Good. Thank you.
Well, that's just about it for this month. If you still have any information and not given it to us yet, please do take down one of the phone numbers we'll show you on the screen at the end of the programme. If you have CFAX, you can look them up on page 186. You can write to us too, of course, at BBC TV, London W12 8QT, or contact your local police.
We'll be back in a month from now. Last month's programme resulted in quite a number of arrests. We'll tell you more about the results of this month's programme in that time a month from now. That's the Thursday after the election day, is it? No, it's a week after that, I think. Thursday, the 18th of June. Till then, please, don't have nightmares. Not at least on our account. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.